Joining us now on the Movies and Stuff show, actress, writer, musician, Traci Lords. Traci, thank you so much for taking time to join us today.
Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
Oh, very well. Thank you. I got to say, your performance of Phyllis is perfect. There's those little moments where Phyllis lets down her guard and has an intimate connection with somebody. And then a moment later, she puts her guard right back up. And that's just terrific.
Yeah.
Was that in the script, or is that something you guys created on the set?
Well, I think that the director, Richard Bates Jr., he wrote a really great script. When the project first came to me through my agent, I saw his short film that he had done in film school, and I thought that the short was sensational. And the role of Phyllis, she was fleeting in the short because obviously it was more focused on the daughter and her problem. But what I found really interesting is how did the daughter, was she born that way? Did she, what was her family life like? What were her siblings like? All that stuff. And I think as we worked on the script, Phyllis became more and more fleshed out. And Ricky and I worked really hard to I wanted to give her some nuance. I didn't want her to be one-dimensional. So I think he wrote a sensational script, and it was collaboration truly that brought Phyllis to life. I just kept looking for moments to make her more human so she wasn't stereotypical, because I think at first on page she came across as just, she was just really hard, and she was really nasty. It was a really dark place to be, but I wanted you to kind of understand why Phyllis was the way that she was, and so I hope that I conveyed some of that, her pain and her disappointment with life, and she's just this woman that really had it all set up. She was going to marry a certain type of man, and she was going to live in a certain type of house, and she wanted a perfect A-line skirt and everything. She's just control freak that way, neat. And Phyllis's undoing is that she just has this daughter that is completely the opposite. She's not the perfect daughter. She's a monster, and she doesn't look the part, and she's an embarrassment, and she's all of these things. So I think that Phyllis really takes it on as her failure, and it kind of makes her crazy. Did you get any of that?
Yeah, no, totally, absolutely. Yeah, and that's so awesome. And you went to the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute, known for method acting. A role like this, like, how hard is it to break away from that? Did it take you some time after doing this role to be able to get back to normal?
Well, it's funny. My husband said that it wasn't one of his favorite characters to live with. So yeah, it's really hard not to bring it home. It's really hard because, the days are long. You're on, it was an independent film. It was a smaller budget, and the days were really brutally long. We were working, 12, 14-hour days at times, and the subject matter was, it was heavy. It was just, I'm a mother myself. I have a small child though, and that was like part of my work in preparing the role. I think just really, investigating and thinking deeply about what would it be like if you hated your child or you just didn't like your child. And so that was really hard for me. I found that process rather heartbreaking, actually. But I think there are moments in it where it was hard for me to say those things and do those things. And, I had to really work at letting Traci go to be Phyllis, because I'm nothing like Phyllis. Maybe that, there's sternness and, there's some qualities, some characteristics that I certainly have at moments, I think, in my life. But my son he's 7 now. He's just this delightful human being, and I adore him, and I'm not hard like that with him at all. So it was just, trying on that persona of being the mother to daughters was really interesting too, because it's such a different parental experience. Not having daughters, I just trying to take that on and feel that it's just a different world. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
You totally
not,
did, and as a father of a daughter, I look at this movie and I start getting terrified. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's like, this is what I have to look forward to in about 10, 15 years.
Yikes. Yeah, well, I think, just as parents, I think about it. My son they get so big so fast, and you hear that and you're just like, yeah, whatever. But I think once you have children and you really watch it, them growing out of their clothes and them saying things that are, profound or witty or just, brilliant. And you're like, how do you know that? How do you know that? The depth of this human being is just pretty incredible. So, yeah, there are things. I mean, I'm afraid he went to a birthday party a couple of weeks ago, and it was, race cars, and they actually, drive these race cars around the track, and the parents were driving them, and the kids were driving them, and I looked at my husband, and I just went, oh, my Lord, he now knows how to start the ignition. I mean, and truly, it's just, they take it so quickly. I mean, and my son has always been a builder. I mean, he was building like little tiny, my husband is a builder, so that would make sense, I suppose. But he was building with like the recyclables, cardboard boxes and things, and making these towers and things since he was like 1 year, 2 years old, really little. But now he virtually builds. And what he can do just on the computer is just shocking. And that's just like a whole other thing. So you just think about all the layers of, how to protect, how you can possibly... How can you not fail the human being? Right,
exactly.
Sometimes it's really overwhelming. It's like, how can you not fail is more the question. It's pretty trippy. So it's amazing that parents, well, I guess there are a lot of them that are nuts, aren't there?
Yeah.
Phyllis is a little bit crazy, but did you get why she was crazy, or did you think she was crazy?
That was a question I was going to ask you. Is Phyllis mentally ill?
See, I don't think so. When I say crazy, I mean her daughter pushes all of her buttons, but she wasn't. I think Phyllis is, I wasn't playing her that way. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Ricky saw her that way or not. That's something I never asked him. But I just always thought that, Phyllis is actually completely the opposite. She's trying so hard to make it okay and to work it out with Pauline. And if I just say the right thing, I'm sure she's going to come to her senses. She will go to the cotillion. She will do these things, and she will become the lady that I want her to become. But she just keeps spiraling out of control.
Absolutely.
And, so here I have the perfect daughter, the younger daughter, that's beautiful and poised and speaks nicely and all of these things. And she's the one that's dying.
Right.
And then I get stuck with the ugly one that is rude and crude and vulgar, and she's the one that gets to live. And so I think that Phyllis is a deeply religious woman, and it feels very betrayed by God as well. So that's going on as well.
Oh, interesting. So. Interesting.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. In people talking about the film, Phyllis is almost always viewed as the antagonist, and I don't even know if that's fair to say that she's the antagonist. Do you think Phyllis
is that true?
Is she the? Oh yeah. There's a lot of people.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So
of people,
you mean just with people discussing it, like friends and things that have seen the film?
Yes,
they saw her.
They think she's the villain. I don't know. What do you think? Is Phyllis the villain?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I tried really hard to make her not the villain because I don't believe that she is. I think she's really justified in what she does and how she feels, and she was right. I mean, she cut up the sister.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, Phyllis has a point, truly. But, she's just a little, I guess my biggest fear with the role, and I don't know, was that she would be unlikable, that you wouldn't get, there are things that she does that are really unlikable. And so that's just part of the character. But I wanted to also give her humanity where you understood her motivations and it wasn't just to be mean for the sake of being mean, because I've never, ever saw her that way. I always just saw her as somebody that really felt like she had failed. She had her life was so nuts. She picked the right guy. She did the right stuff. She looks the part. She does all of this. And now it's all just kind of imploding, and she just cannot deal with that.
Right. And, I think you have a really great point there, too, because of the other daughter, of the fact that she does have this good relationship and she has proven that she can be a good mother to this other daughter. So I don't think it's completely, she's not a bad mother. It's just, you're right. She's got the one daughter that completely pushes every single button. It's not one or two. It's like every single one to her. And, I get that people will see her as a villain just because of the kind of the way she parents and the way she treats her husband in a way. But I don't think she's a villain.
I think she's
got such a good heart in a way, Yeah.
Well, the relationship with my husband, with Roger Bart, I really wished that there was more screen time. I wish that there were like one or two more scenes there, because I didn't feel just satisfied with I don't know what came out of it. It's just the original script had some other things in it that ended up not making the final cut. Well, we didn't film them because it was just too long. There were only so many days in production. But you got there was one scene which personally I'm really happy that we didn't film it, because it would have been really humiliating for me. But I think you would have understood their relationship more. And Ricky he'd written this bizarre, and I was so grateful. I was like, thank you so much for taking this scene out. But there's a scene in the original script where Roger Bart's character he's going down on Phyllis, and all you see are her legs. He's like there, and she's like literally. It's like I don't know how he was shooted like from like a high overhead angle or something, where obviously you don't see anything in it, but that she's just really laying there kind of yawning in bed, like he can't even do that right. And so in a way, maybe it would have painted her to be even darker.
Yes.
But and I'm not sure, Roger and I were talking about this early on, that's the fact that he tries everything really to make his wife happy. I don't know if you remember the scene where he's eating ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's just on his face, and he just looks like a goof. He's just like, he's so cute, and she's just disgusted. She's like, and I made you all of these fabulous, low calorie, and I'm not going to waste my time anymore. It's just, and I think she just really, like, when we were filming that, and Roger had ad-libbed that was him. And we're trying to create a moment, and I thought that was just, it was lovely. It was brilliant that he did that, and it was just a spontaneous reaction from me that, as Phyllis, that I just found that so. On the first moment, I wanted to laugh, and then I think Phyllis really did find it funny. But at the same time, she stops herself and she chokes herself, and she's just like, "Oh, but you're disgusting." And so she just keeps going back to that one thing. It's like this poor guy. I mean, he just really needed to leave. He truly did. He just needed to leave her.
Another great little performance was John Waters. I love that. There's a connection.
We went to Sundance with the film, and John wasn't there, but I called him when I got back from Sundance, and I said to him, when you came on screen, Sundance midnight movie, the whole theater just broke out and started they were just delighted with one little snarl of his mustache. That's all it takes. He's so wonderful.
You and John have a connection. Did you get him involved in this production?
Yeah, I did. Ricky had asked me to, he said that was a dream. He really wanted to work with John. And I said, well, okay, do you want me to call him? And he was like, what? And I was like, well, I'll just call him and ask him. So I did. And, Ricky then, I put them in touch, and then he read the script, and it was just a day. And he just said, okay, Ricky, I just don't fly coach, just so you know. And that was his only, I'm too old, I can't. So Ricky flew him in first class from Baltimore. I think that, that was half of our budget. No, I'm kidding.
I was about to say, there goes half of the budget of the movie, yeah.
And so anyway, he's obviously a big fan. I think he's in his new movie, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing. Suburban something. What is it called? Sorry, it's slipping my mind at the moment. But he has a new film out that's supposed to be quite good. And like that. So, yeah. So it was nice to work with John, and then, I was cast, John was cast, and then people just started coming on board, which was great. Then Ariel was cast, and someone else was cast, and then it didn't work out, and they found Anna. And Anna Lynn, I think, did a sensational job in the film, and her transition from, just being this ugly duckling to being, everybody sees her as gorgeous. They saw her at Models Inc. and everything. I mean, she's just quite a beautiful woman. But I think to just, flashing from one to another, you really see that she had that range. So I think it was surprising. Did you like her performance?
Yeah, I was about to say too, we touched upon the ending before, but you and Anna Lynn in that scene together at the very end, just both phenomenal. I mean, just really, really intense. Was that your most difficult scene to pull off? Because that blew me away when I saw it.
It really was, and I think it was really hard for her because it was, it was a very emotional scene, and actors will talk about this all the time, where you've got a crew of people standing around waiting for you to cry or waiting for you, and you're just dry for whatever reason, or it's just not organic and it's just not coming. And the worst thing to do is to be thinking, oh no, I need to cry right now. Everybody's waiting for me and I can't quite get here. And so you don't want it to be some fake sort of forced thing. It just needs to be that full and sort of falling off of you and out of you, and it's just I think it was really rough, and she got there and she did a great job, and I think she should be really proud of it.
Absolutely.
And Excision really is an incredibly unique horror film. It's definitely a black comedy in many ways too, and I do urge people that haven't seen it to check it out, being that it's this time of year to watch horror films.
Yeah, right?
What are some of your favorite ones, though? What do you enjoy to watch around this time of year?
Scary movies definitely scare me. They give me a bit of a kick, but I tend to watch them with the lights on in broad daylight. No, I'll definitely let you maybe check Excision out again, for right around Halloween. But I go back to some of my Freddy Krueger movies and stuff. And now, I've done like several pop culture kind of conventions. As a matter of fact, I have one happening in about 2 weeks. I'll be in Massachusetts at the I'll be up near Boston toward the Palladium for Rock and Shock. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's on the weekend of the October 15th, 16th, 17th. There'll be a lot of people from the horror world there. And what was I getting to? I usually see Freddy Krueger when I go to these shows. So, it's like I was like one of those kids that grew up not really into horror films at all. And then now I was afraid of them. I was really, truly afraid of them. And now it's like I've met most of the monsters, which I guess is kind of an irony in my life as well, that, you're afraid of things and then you see them without all the bells and whistles and you realize it's just sort of an illusion and none of it's all that real. So anyway.
Nice. All right, final question here, and I'm going to shift gears just for this. I have an unabashed love for Not of This Earth. And
do you really?
I do. I love this film because most of the time when someone's trying to remake or interpret a B-50s sci-fi movie, they usually end up totally making fun of it. But this movie loves the B sci-fi movie genre. I know the shoot was only like 2 weeks, but do you have any fond memories of shooting Not of This Earth?
Many, and Jim Wynorski would love that you just said that. He directed it, he wrote it, and he did, a zillion of them for Roger Corman, like dozens of films with Roger Corman. And, that was a huge, when I look at my career, there's certain milestones, and None of This Earth really was. I felt like it was funny and it was sassy and it made fun of itself. And the part was a fun part, Nadine's story. And I just have on the most ridiculous nurse's outfit in it, don't you think?
Yes.
And so it sort of makes sense, but it doesn't really. But it's sort of like you said, delightfully bad. And I took it very seriously. I had just come out of school. I just finished with Strasberg, and I found myself in the Griffith Park, running from what was supposed to be, here I am, this method actress, right? Running from this space alien from another planet. It was ridiculous. That wore sunglasses and was chasing me. It was pretty funny. I think I realized how full of myself I was, and that I just needed to kind of like let this all go, and I was in on the joke. And that's when it just sort of all clicked. I think it was like day 3. And then I was like, oh, how bad was I for the past 3 days? Because I just wasn't really in on the joke yet. And Jim mercifully had gone back and reshot like some scenes that just didn't really quite work, because I just wasn't, I mean, it was really my first legitimate film, my first real, day at the rodeo. So that was a big deal. And I was all of 19, I think. So I really had no idea what I was doing. I was flexing, and I was doing it in front of a lot of people. So it was intimidating for sure. And I look back on it now and I go, wow, I'm amazed that I pulled that off, and I give myself tremendous credit because I know how scared I was. So I look at it now and I go, look how cute, look at the puppy, look what I was doing. It's kind of, I can look at it and just sort of laugh, which is a great place to be,
Absolutely. Well, Traci, I don't want to take up any more of your day. You've just been a delight to talk to.
It's been very awesome.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thanks for asking. That was fun. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Take care, Traci.
Okay, guys. Bye.
Bye.